I would imagine the next few steps of this process, they probably involve like unlearning some of these unhealthy patterns and doing what you can to rewire your brain. What are some of the things or some of the steps that you've done personally or that you help coach your men in your coaching program to do so that they can essentially like create new neural pathways and help create new healthy habits and patterns?
Yeah, well, it's starting back again at that acceptance, right? Of this is where I am. And what we must also understand in that acceptance of realizing there's an addiction, we must also understand that it's actually not porn that is the problem. The problem lies within us. So the path to changing it is not by fixing porn or eliminating porn. It's by changing us from the inside out. So you talked about, rewriting or recreating some of these neural pathways. So if we're coming at it from that perspective, right, it's like, I don't have a pornography problem. I have a problem with myself, my inability to maybe self-regulate in certain moments, then that puts us in an empowering position to change us. And in changing us, we eliminate the problem with pornography. So once we've identified that this is my starting point, what we do with our men is we help them cast a vision for their life without pornography. If we've been living in this type of life with these habits, this addiction, these struggles for this long, we've created that as our identity. That's how we see ourselves. And that is the identity that which we see the world through. So in order to change that, because what we say is the only way to overcome a pornography addiction for good is to become the man that is no longer addicted to porn. And I put a lot of emphasis on that word become, because I think more than anything, if you want to put a label of addiction recovery coach, men's health coach, podcast, I believe I'm an identity change expert. I help men create a new identity for themselves and then step into that new identity without pornography. So if we're going to succeed in doing that, though, we must have a clear vision of what that is going to look like for us in our lives. So we have a very thorough process that we walk these men through of how to paint a clear vision for the life that you want to live without pornography. So if porn has impacted your ability to create meaningful relationships, let's get a clear vision of the life and the relationships that you want in the future. If pornography has impacted your ability to maybe show up at work and stay on task and stay focused and oriented, you're not producing the level of income that you want. Let's paint a vision for your life in the future producing that level of income. What type of job, what type of skill sets must you acquire? Maybe porn has had a big impact on your physical health. You're fat, lazy, and out of shape. Well, let's paint a vision for your life in the future as the healthy, fit person that you want to be. So this now gives us an aim that we work towards, and it really becomes our guiding light for every choice and decision that we make. Because if you're going to change your behavior, you must have something that you're working towards, because eating a cookie would be really, really good. But if I'm working towards having a six-pack, then eating a cookie doesn't align with what I want out of life. So if we know what we want out of life, it's a lot easier to make choices and decisions on a daily basis that are in alignment with those. So the next step then there, Doug, like I said, would be to paint a big, clear vision for your life. Now you got to break that vision down though into an actionable plan. So that would be the next step you would walk through. So, okay. So if I know that in 5 years, I want to be, I want to have six-pack abs. I want to be making $100,000. I want to have, deep, meaningful relationships. Well, where am I inefficient in my ability to maybe produce some of those outcomes? Do I possess, six-figure income skills, or do I need to go acquire some new skills? So we break it down into a tangible way that we can now start working on things. And here's the thing with dopamine. I know you've had some amazing neuroscientists on your podcast. So I don't want to sound like I'm competing with any of them in terms of intelligence or understanding of how it works, but I've spoken with many of the same neuroscientists as well. So there's an element of motivation that's tied to dopamine, right? So if we're seeking porn because it gives us hits of dopamine, that means that in that act of seeking, well, if we create very tangible goals in our life, fitness goals, financial goals, relationship goals, family goals, service goals in our community, and then take small daily steps every single day, we will get small hits of dopamine. Not as big as pornography would give you, but small hits stacked up over time, compounded in alignment with who you want to be, is the effective way to fully reboot and reset the neural pathways within your brain.